Okay, so the three main differences for training men versus women. I figure this is a good video to talk a little bit about the differences between the male and the female species when it comes to strength training and weight loss. So I'll jump to the main sexist discrimination difference between the two. Is for females or for women, there is this thing called a menstrual cycle, right? So women have a menstrual cycle that is either a 21 day up to 30 days in a month. And this can affect her progress. Obviously, this isn't applied to men, but when it comes to women, it does affect her progress and how strong she's going to get, how quickly she can recover, and how hard she can go in her intensity, her volume, and how much she can lift. So keeping that in mind, if you're a female and you're watching this, then you ought to consider looking into tracking your cycle. Because when you track your cycle, you are more aware of what's going on with your body and you are more in tune with nature. Specifically around the luteal phase of the menstrual cycle, or if you're a guy watching this and you have a girlfriend, the luteal phase is the phase before she gets her period. And that phase is when you're at the weakest in the month. So you're feeling a little low in energy, you're probably craving some food, you're probably feeling a little bit more emotional, your mood swing starts to come in. That all affects your ability to see, and your ability to push yourself in the gym. So if you're about to approach your menstrual cycle, you're about to get your period, then that is the time to back off your training, at least to be mindful of the fact that you're not going to feel 150% because your body's preparing itself to release this blood out of your body. Okay, the second difference, obviously that's not really difference, that's just excluded to women. The second difference though is that women, generally speaking, have more type 1 fibers than type 2 fibers. So you have two types of muscle fibers. You have type 1 muscle fiber and type 2 muscle fiber. Type 1 muscle fiber is the muscle fibers that are responsible for aerobic exercise, things like running, biking or cycling, swimming, walking. All of these are for endurance purposes, are used what's called type 1 muscle fibers. Then you have type 2 muscle fibers, which is for things like sprinting or sprinting on the cycle, on the bike, or fight or flight, kind of freaking out, running for your life. That's type 2. Women generally have more type 1 fibers. Men generally have more type 2 fibers. Why? I would presume it's probably due to evolution. It's probably due because of our years in existence, what men were created to do and what women were created to do. So knowing that, if you're a woman and you are into sprinting, then obviously you may have to work twice as hard than a man. If you are a man and you are into endurance sports, you probably have a leg up anyways, because males generally have more of a leg up than women when it comes to endurance and sprinting. But now you know. If you didn't know, now you know. It's a type of muscle fiber which affects your genetic potential, that's number one, but also your ability to be attracted to a certain type of activity or sport, I should say. So if you're into sprinting, like a runner, you're a track star, or you're into weightlifting, though the weightlifting uses a lot of type 2 muscle fibers, so that can affect a female's ability to build muscle and also the man. The third main difference between men and women is women generally do better with volume, okay? So volume is things like, 10 sets of 10 of push-ups, 10 sets of 10 of pull-ups, 10 sets of 10 of squats, okay? This is muscle hypertrophy or muscular endurance, and it's building volume. Men generally are more adept or more capable to excel at higher intensity, okay? So if you are squatting 100 pounds, okay, and let's say that's 90% in terms of intensity for a woman versus a man. Let's say his is, he's squatting 300 pounds, and that's at 90% for him. Generally speaking, the man is going to excel regardless of the weight, because the intensity is, we're talking about intensity, 90% for the man, 90% for the woman, 100 pounds for the woman, 300 pounds for the man, all relative, but the intensity is the same. The 30%, the 90% is the same. Thus, the man technically may have a leg up versus the woman, because again, men are more adept or more qualified or they're more resilient to intense training. That's not to say that women are not. It's just men are biologically speaking may have that advantage than women. But women, on the other hand, can take more volume. They can take kind of more hits, if you will. Men, not so much. Men can fatigue a little bit more, a little bit faster than before a woman taps out. Okay, so you may be wondering, how is this even related, and how does this even affect your ability to see progress? Well, it has a lot to do with it, because if you are not responding, and you're a woman and you're not responding to high intensity training, this is the reason why. It's probably because number one, it's genetic, number two, because you're a lady, and number three, because you're not designed to use that training modality to see change. There's different ways that you can manipulate your techniques to see progress in strength or in muscle growth. So you can manipulate it in volume, intensity, time under tension, which is technically under volume intensity, and weight lifted. But finding what you respond to is really important if you want to see progress and not spend so much time in the gym doing mindless stuff that aren't going to really get you progress. Another reason why this is important is because so there's this thing called fatigue management. So if you are a woman and you're a female, you have a tank. Okay, so you have, let's say, 10 gallons of milk of a tank, or 10 gallons of gasoline in a tank that you can use per week. In other words, 10 times 4 in a month, so that's 40 gallons of gas or milk or whatever per month that you can use before you start to overtrain. So if you are doing too much high intensity work, you're not resting enough, you're stressed out, and you're not sleeping enough, your chances of overtraining are much higher than if you follow a strategy that is more suitable to your needs. So a woman, that's really important for women, because women are a little bit less resilient than men. Men are obviously to have a lot of much more of a leg up when it comes to athletic stuff and sports and muscle and strength and all this kind of stuff. And even in bodybuilding, men have a leg up than women. Women have to be a little bit more strategic and have to be a little bit more smarter when it comes to their training versus men. Women are their body is designed to reproduce. It's nature's way of protecting the woman from being overworked or being too stressed out to the point where she cannot reproduce anymore. This is why when a woman gets stressed out and when she is handling too much in her life, she loses her menstrual cycle. Okay, these are things that affect her ability, or a woman's ability, to build muscle and to see progress in her health, and her ability to build muscle, her ability to get stronger. Men don't have to worry about that, so technically men have it easier per se, but I would argue that my contention would still be that each has its own drawbacks. Okay, so those are a couple of the differences between training a man and a woman. It's super important, especially if you are a man or you are a woman watching this and you have a lady friend who is also into this world of fitness and health. These things can really affect her if she's not mindful, and also for the man, if he's doing a ton of volume, it's probably not in his advantage. He probably wants to deliver more high intensity training than whereas a woman, vice versa. Bada bing, bada bing. Okay. Obviously, it always comes down to consistency, and no matter what you do, whether it's volume, intensity, percentages, RP, whatever it is, it always really comes down to consistency, but also strategy, knowing how you adapt, knowing what you adapt to. Not all women are resilient, or not all women are not resilient. There's a lot of women who are capable of being just as capable as a man is. Now, if you put the woman with the man in the military, like the Navy SEALs, or they're under very, very strenuous situations, yes, the woman more than likely is going to lose her menstrual cycle, and technically she can't really be a lady if she's going to train like the dude or be with men, because that is just not how women are designed, scientifically speaking, biologically speaking. It's just a science thing. It's not a sexist thing. It's a science thing. Women are designed to reproduce. men are designed to fight, okay? So that is how our biologies are made up. That's not to say that woman can't do what a man does. It's just she has to be a little bit more strategic and a little bit more smarter when it comes to things. And with the men, they too have to be smart, and they too have to have strategy, but they just have a little bit less things kind of think about or worry about because of that biology class that I just rambled about. Okay, if you're interested in a custom program by yours truly, consider emailing me or message me on my Instagram or wherever I am. I will gladly assist you, answer any questions that you may have, legit questions, not these weird questions. And I'll see you in the next video.